Back to the Quarantine Cricket Championship. I'm Brian Jackson, and this is day 5 of the second Ashes Test between England and Australia. Final day. Smith and Wade in the 90s, both of them, and Australia with just a slight lead over England and 7 wickets in hand. So, smart money would be on a draw from here, but England will think if they can break this partnership early and take a couple more quick wickets after that, they'll be right in the hunt. Australia's chances of a win, fairly small, you'd have to say. So they'll be hoping to go into the third test with the scoreline in the series still 0-0. 2 draws, not the ideal way to start, but I think Australia would settle for that. Pitch is better for bowlers than it has been over the course of the game. So England will be backing themselves. Moeen, he's bowled well so far, but Wade's able to get that away for 1 as he approaches his first century of the Ashes and of the Quarantine Cricket Championship. Oh, and Smith's hit on the pads. Is this out? No. Pretty close. But yeah, struck outside the line. Hawkeye showing that ball doing quite a lot. So that's a good sign for Moeen. Probably not so much for the Australian batsman. And that's actually the first chance I remember for Smith this innings. If we just have a look. Yep, only time he's even come close to getting out. So it'll be Stuart Broad to Wade on 97. Will we see the century this over, or will we see another dismissal in the 90s for Wade? Can't beat short cover. Wise leave. And again. Maiden over. So, can Moeen go one better than last over and dismiss the informed batsman, the greatest batsman in world cricket today, at least in Test cricket? Kohli's better overall, you'd have to say, all 3 formats. Smith sweeps. Will it go all the way? No. So they get back for 2, which brings Smith to 99 not out. Come on, Smitty. Smudge. Checkers. Oh, good ball. And again, Smith can't get it away. Pressure building. Plays the sweep again, and he's done it. This time it's just the single, but that is a very well-deserved 100 for Steve Smith. One of the hardest fought 100s you'll see. Came in with Australia at 3 for 24 in all sorts of strife. And him and Matthew Wade, they have steered Australia towards something approximating safety. Can Wade get his 100? Moves to 99. Yeah, they've been playing superbly. The partnership is over 200 now between these two. Matthew Wade, 99 not out. Stuart Broad bowling. Goes for it. Yes, he's got it. What an innings from Matthew Wade. He has a lot to be proud of there. No chances. Literally a chanceless 100. His 3rd in Test match cricket. Only 3. Steve Smith, meanwhile, his 25th Test match 100. So there you go. Still, almost a full day of cricket left in this match, so These two can't become complacent. Good to see Moeen actually getting a bowl this morning. He's been good all match, all series. Wade can't get it away. And a maiden over as Broad continues. Smith defends. Couple of slips in place, so England not as defensive as they were yesterday, but I still think they could be more attacking. Just given the circumstances of the match, they've got very little to lose. And Smith and Wade content to work the ones. Nice pull shot, didn't get all of it. It'll come through for another single, so 4 from that over. Australia's lead now past 100. So that's a small milestone, but a good one, an important one. Oh, and Wade's been dropped. Would you believe it? The first chance of the innings for him, and he's been put down by the man at short leg. I wonder who that was. Probably Jason Roy. And how important will that be in the course of the match? As Moeen completes another maiden. Unlucky not to get a wicket there. And he'll probably be taken off now because England going for the new ball. I guess I would have done the same. Try to get something going. Oh, and that's out. Wade struck on the pads directly in front. Umpire gives it out. So, what an innings. Exceptional knock, but just didn't go on with it after getting the ton. So that brings Travis Head to the crease, who's also in some good form. But how big is that for England? They've got one breakthrough. They broke that massive partnership that's been going on for almost an entire day of cricket. And they're right back in it in this morning session of day 5. And the runs not flowing freely this morning either. England have kept it tight to their credit. They've bowled really well. But Smith finds the gap there. No one out there in the deep. He picks up 4 runs, so just relieving some of the pressure there. The dots had been piling up after the wicket of Wade. But a lot rests on the shoulders of Steve Smith now. He's got to see Australia through. As Travis Head gets off the mark with a nice drive. Solid leave. And solid in defence. Just the one from it. Good bowling from England. As Anderson continues. Very aggressive field here to Trav Head. It's what I would do. Get the pressure on. And that's a good Yorker. Only just kept that one out. So the momentum with England at the moment, Travis Head will be relieved to get down the other end, even if it's just for one ball. Not a lot of carry there. It's interesting. 243 for 4. As Stokes comes into the attack and he's immediately dispatched. Travis Head looked like he played it off the back foot there. Very elegant. Oh, and is this out? No. Michael Jenkins says no. Nothing doing, but this one's out. The very next ball. Oh, it was a very loose shot, and Travis Head has thrown his innings away. Bringing Tim Paine to the crease. He's just going to have to stick around. Nothing fancy from him, and the bowling change actually worked. Ben Stokes with the breakthrough. England will be sensing victory on the cards. 247 for 5. Anderson to Smith. And gee, if Steve Smith goes and this flow of wickets continues, there will be very little in the way of an England victory. You'd say that Australia will have to bat for at least another 2 hours, probably 3, in order to make sure this match is safe. And England are just giving them nothing at the moment. As Steve Smith blocks out another maiden. This new ball has done the trick. So we're entering what's going to be quite a tense period of play. Australia looking mainly to survive, but England will be very aggressive, you'd think, hunting those final 5 Australian wickets. And really, one more gone and they're into the tail. 248 for 5. Anderson to the new batsman Tim Paine was able to get down the other end with a single. Now this is interesting. They're returning to the tactic of going around the wicket to Steve Smith. They've got a man at short leg there for the catch off the inside edge, or leading edge, I assume. Interesting tactic. Will it pay off? Not in that over. 249 for 5. And Tim Paine gets that one through the field, and they took off pretty late, the Australian batsmen, and they're coming back. Is this a run-out chance? No. Gee, looked like it was going to be close. Direct hit would have been asking questions, but in the end it's the 250 up for the Australians. They've lost a couple of early wickets this morning, which isn't ideal for them. But it's still very possible that they will stay at the crease long enough to assure a draw and enter the third Ashes Test at Headingley on an even scoreline. Bit wayward from Stokes. Anderson continuing to bowl. He must have incredible stamina. I think he's bowled 20 plus overs in every innings of this series, often in long spells. Well left by Smith. Gets that one away. Fielder can't get down to it. And they'll come back for 2 more. It's 255 for 5. Broad back already. It's what we've come to expect. Whenever Anderson and Broad can bowl, they're on. Smith looking solid this morning. He's not doing anything foolish. He knows he's got a job to do. Probably didn't need to pull that one, but just a dot ball. As Anderson continues to paint, who is going about it exactly how I want him to. Leaving it outside off, defending it, doing his best to be there for as long as possible, frustrate the bowlers, and you see that clock in the top left corner of the screen. That's arguably more important than the scoreboard at this stage, seeing it tick towards 6 p.m. We're still a ways away from that, of course, as Anderson completes another maiden. Here's trouble. Sam Curran into the attack. Looked very threatening yesterday and in the first innings. I think he took 4. But he hasn't been used as much as I would have expected. But he always looks like taking a wicket when he's on. Tim Paine working a single. Smith looking to attack that one. Gives himself room to hit through the onside. Just the single though. 3 from that over. As Anderson is still bowling. I don't think he's even been a wicket taker this morning. But they keep going to him. And that'll come off the pads for 2-leg byes. Handy for the Australians. Well fielded by the man at short cover. Oh, and that's nicely played, and again well fielded. So England are very much switched on today. They want that victory. Oh, and Anderson beats the bat of Tim Paine to finish the over. So with half an hour left in this opening session, it's been England's morning so far. Smith, however, still at the crease. He wants to make this his day. And so far he's found responsible company in Tim Paine, the Australian captain, of course. That helps. No ball and a single. Smith keeping the scoreboard ticking along as well. It's been a while since we've seen a boundary, dealing in ones, these Australians. But that's alright, as the lead continues to build and the clock continues to tick. 268 for 5, the lead now 135 runs, so that's still not high enough. Considering the stage of the game that we're at, Australia probably be looking for 220 to 250 lead. But really, right now, it's just about batting for as long as possible. Big hooping outswinger from Anderson. He's left alone by Paine. Curran continuing at the other end. Hasn't looked as threatening today as he did yesterday, but he's still bowling pretty well. Nothing Smith can do with that one. Umpire signals wide. Much better from Curran. He's got that natural angle into the right-hander, which seems to cause all sorts of problems. Just the wide from that over. as we see Ben Stokes back into the attack. Of course, the wicket taker this morning of Travis Head. Can he dismiss the Australian captain as well? Not yet. Tim Paine solid in defence. He's a very handy player, Tim Paine. Oh, but has he nicked that one? No. No appeal. So, streaky there, but survives. Tim Paine, a very useful number 7 batsman. He's not the most explosive player, but he can bat long periods of time. And he's usually good for a 30 odd. Right now, he'll be thinking about surviving until lunch. Probably 2 or 3 overs away. As Stokes continues to Steve Smith, who is also happy to put his personal pride aside and just bat more defensively than he was yesterday, doing a job for the team. 2 centuries in 2 tests for him. Very impressive. Can he go 5-5 this Ashes series? Pretty impressive cut shot there, but a couple men out in the deep prevent it from going all the way to the boundary. So it's just that single from the over. 3 minutes left in the session. So we'll get this over from Sam Curran in. Hopefully that's the only one. And it'll be up to Tim Paine to see off the dangerous Curran for 3 more deliveries. Good leave. And once again, good leave. He's got to bowl this one straight, I reckon, Curran. Get him playing. Yeah, it was a good ball, but Tim Paine picked the movement early. And that'll be a session in the books. Not the most exciting cricket. Sorry, guys. But Australia surviving. Steve Smith surviving. And we enter the second session with Australia leading by 140 runs. And Stuart Broad bowling to Steve Smith. So, Australia, if they bat another 30 overs, the lead will probably be around 200, and at that stage, the game's pretty much saved. So this is a crucial session for the English bowlers if they are to win this match. Because you'd think if the wickets fall early and fall often, that the total that Australia will post for England to face isn't high enough to defend. Maiden over as Stokes continues to Paine. They've used Stokes a fair bit with the ball. Have England this series? It's been pretty good. But so far he's failed to dislodge Tim Paine or make him do anything foolish, really. He's been very solid as he completes another over. Still 273 for 5. Smith gets a full toss but can't put it away. Very well left, and that's a good line and length. And the first run of the session comes in the third over. As Paine defends solidly once again. Just the 2 slips in place. You'd think they'd go a bit more aggressive. And for Steve Smith, it's just the one slip and a lot of men on the boundary. So they're expecting him to do something foolish, but so far he just hasn't. I don't know if Tim Paine's scored a run this session. No, he hasn't. Well, there we go. Finally gets away. 15 minutes in. Oh, and that goes through everyone. It was a good delivery, but Bairstow just completely missed that. Don't know what happened there. You don't need that if you're England. And you don't need that either. Extras will serve Australia nicely at this stage. Just get that lead up as high as possible. Make sure England have no chance. And it's also worth noting that this is still a decent wicket for batting. It's not doing too much for the spinners. The bounce is a bit more uneven than it has been at the start of the match, but still pretty predictable, you'd say. Ball's not doing much. This reminds me more of Australian conditions, as Paine. It's a good shot, a lot of power behind it, but just can't beat the fielder. Yeah, these are more like Australian conditions, absolute road. Not what you'd expect coming to England, but with that said, it's been England who have had the better of the conditions this match, or rather they've made better use of them, with a mammoth first innings total of 571. Australia's batted well too, and you'd suspect that a draw would be really the outcome that you would anticipate from the start of the match, just given the way the conditions have been. Is there a run here? Yes, there is. Misfield allows Smith to get down the other end. Root won't be happy with that, unless it was him that misfielded. And Stuart Broad, the workhorse who spearheaded this English attack with limited success, it must be said. As another over goes by, and Anderson returns. So the first half hour of this second session is in the books. Australia still... Sorry guys, Australia's still 5 down. I don't have a mute button in this commentary box. It's something I'm working on, but it's obviously just hard to get things done while we're in quarantine. Hard to fix everything up. I'll speak to the production team about it though. 287 for 5. Tim Paine, 14 off 74 deliveries now. He has done his job, to say the least. And they're going back around the wicket to Smith. They've done that on and off. I'm assuming at this stage it's just to unsettle him, because that appeal right there is the closest they've come to getting a wicket from this angle. Two runs from that over. Anderson continues to Smith, who, with this field as it is, so many men on the boundary, he can easily work these ones. Very little pressure applied to him, and a similar field to Tim Paine, strangely, just the one slip. Catching cover, catching mid-wicket. But other than that, Fielders pushed right back. Just one from the over. As the game ticks along on day 5, it's still pretty tense because you just know that one wicket falls and the game changes entirely, especially if it's this man on strike, Steve Smith. But I do appreciate that this isn't the best viewing spectacle at the moment. But, you know, anything can happen in Test cricket. And these sorts of struggles are what it's all about. Stokes completes another maiden. And Anderson continuing to the immovable Australian skipper, Tim Paine. I think he's only scored singles. Nice full toss for Smith. He just pushes it into a gap for 1. And Paine happy to let these go. Just 2 from that over. Another quiet one, another tidy one, as England hunt for that breakthrough. And Australia strive towards safety. The lead now 160. So I guess you could say that's something to defend, even if things go badly from here. But the issue, of course, is that there's not enough time left in the game to take 10 wickets. Australia couldn't even do that in well over a day that England batted in their first innings, so no reason to think they could do it in a session and a bit. 2 more added to the team total. As we see Moeen back into the attack, probably a good move on day 5. He should have had the wicket of Wade. The catch was put down. Just overstepping there. Don't see that too often. Smith can't beat the field. I don't know if there's been a boundary this entire session. It's been slow going for the Australians. But singles like that are really all that's required at this stage of the game. Moeen tosses one up wide outside off. Smith doesn't take the bait, and he doesn't attack the short one either. 298 for 5, as the third hour of play on day 5 draws to a close. We're at the halfway mark. England have taken only 2 wickets of the 7 that they needed, so you'd favour a draw from here. I'd say that's the most likely outcome, because Steve Smith and Tim Paine are just unwilling to offer anything. And with that, the 300 comes up. So, well fought by the Australians. They were 3 for 24, as I keep saying. Now they're 5 for 300. Just excellent fight back, spearheaded by Smith, Matthew Wade, the Centurion, as well. They have saved Australia from the jaws of defeat, which looked incredibly likely. I thought the match would have been over on day 4 when the wicket of Warner fell. But no, Australia have put up a fight. foreign conditions. That's what Test cricket's about. I see potential in this Australian side. Payne adds another single to his total to complete another over. It's Stokes to Payne, who's, he's still not scoring quickly, obviously, but the singles are coming with more frequency now that they've pushed the field back. Pretty bizarre thinking on the part of the English. It's like they don't want to win. That's one of the more aggressive shots we've seen from him today. No slips. I wonder what their thinking could be. Another over goes down in the record books. As Moeen now going around the wicket to Smith. Will this do the trick? I don't think he's tried this yet. Starts out with a couple of dot balls. That one looks like it was the straighter one, or at least the one that went straight on. Moeen with a few variations here, trying to get something going for the English. This is interesting. Jofra Archer into the attack. I forgot he was even playing. The way he's been barely used. I haven't seen him at all today. Poor bloke. I wonder what he's in the team for. Payne playing some more shots now. You must get the sense that him and Smith have really pushed Australia towards a comfortable position. Still 40 minutes left in this session though. The job is not done until it's done. I reckon Smith will be motivated to just be there at the end. He's batted pretty much a day and a half now, faced over 300 deliveries, with very few mistakes. And he's still being patient. He lets another maiden go by. Yeah, look at that. 362 deliveries for Smith. He's faced over 60 overs just on his own. That is the mark of a great player. They might start referring to this match as Amazing Edgbaston. Actually, I think this is at Lord's. I've been saying this entire series that the first test was at Lord's and this one was at Edgbaston, but I may have got it mixed up. Oh boy. I'm learning on the job here in this Quarantine Cricket Championship. A series like this has never been attempted before. What I'm doing is groundbreaking. No one else is doing this on YouTube. We're watching every ball. Who wouldn't want to see that? Well left by Payne. came back a fair bit in the end. And a no ball. So, as much as I like to sing the praises of Moeen Ali, he hasn't bowled as well today as England needed him to. It's day 5. These are his conditions. The best it's going to get for spinners in England. The dot balls keep coming. There's another. Smith not giving in. Leaves that alone. So Sam Curran is back into the attack. Joe Root's had enough of Moeen. I don't blame him, he didn't get the job done. Comfortable leave once again. Curran should probably be attacking the stumps. At least make the batsman play. These maidens aren't doing England any favours. And they've reverted to Anderson, as they always do. It hasn't been his best series, Jimmy Anderson. Might be getting up there in age. And as Smith finally moves the score along to 309. So we'll see how Anderson fares in the rest of the series. You would still back him to have a couple of game-changing performances. As Moeen bowls to Tim Paine, who drives down the ground. Would you believe it? There's a boundary. Tim Paine's first. I think it's the first of the session. Long time between boundaries. Well played by Paine. And a few dot balls close out the over as we approach the tea break on day 5. England's still yet to break this partnership between the captain and the former captain. So it looks as if we're headed for a draw. Still a session to play, and the rest of this one, 10 minutes until the break. And business as usual. Here's Curran. Interesting to see him going over the wicket. His preferred angle seems to be going around to the right-handers. Served him pretty well this series, as Smith cuts that to the fieldsman for 1. And a good leave by Tim Paine. Oh, and Paine plays a cut shot very aggressively, but again can't beat the fielder. So just the 2 from that over as we head. I mean, there's probably one more over, just this one until the tea break. These two have survived the session. They've done the smart thing, which is to knuckle down, see off the danger. And Smith finds the boundary as well. I think that's his first of the session. And it comes right on the cusp of tee. They might get another over in, actually, just looking at the clock. No, that'll be it. Umpires are hungry. So 322 for 5. The lead is 189. Smith is 142 not out. This match is essentially dead, so let's go for it a bit more in this final session. See how much. Maybe Smith should shoot for a double ton. Match Bairstow. Steal that man of the match award away from him. That would still be asking a fair bit though. Maiden over once again. So, now that we've raised Smith's aggression, how will he play? I have a feeling he'll just get out, to be honest. He's been so accustomed to batting time today. He's batted so long anyway that might be asking too much for him to have a crack. He doesn't seem to be interested. Oh, and that looks out. Is it out? Yes, it is. So the superb innings from Steve Smith comes to an end. Australia really needed that. But in the end, he's gone for 142. And I probably should have sent in Stark to have a slog. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the lead to 200 and then declare. I don't expect Australia's bowlers to miraculously start taking 10 wickets in a session, but why not have a crack? I think the game is beyond England's grasp at this stage. There would only be about 25 overs for them to make 200 in a test match, which doesn't seem likely, but Australia unable to move the score along at all this session. Yeah, I don't think the score's moved since tea. And we're into the fourth over. So the batsman still very much conditioned to play for the draw. And a no ball is the first run of the session. Oh, and that's out. Played all around it, Cummins. What's Stark got up his sleeve? Oh, he smashed that. That's how you do it. 4 runs. Tim Paine. I don't think he knows how to attack the ball. That's another single to add to his total. Handy 30 odd from him. He's done his job. That's what matters. Stark gets another one away. 2 deliveries, 2 fours for the big man. Oh, and another one. He finds the gap with ease. I've got to put this bloke up at 3 instead of Labuschagne. Oh, and a no ball. So we'll see one more delivery here. Stokes to Stark, blocks it out. And with that, the innings will be closed. 7 for 337. The 2 centuries, Smith and Wade, carried Australia towards saving the match, partnership 213. And then Smith and Paine just batted all day. Paine ends 31 not out. Impressive from him. And now we go in for the kill. or something like that. 90 minutes, that's probably about 22 overs, you'd say. So, I mean, we would be talking about this as one of the greatest test matches in history if Australia somehow took all 10 wickets. Or indeed if England went bang and secured a win, but I don't see them trying that. Pretty aggressive start though. Burns gets the boundary, no one at fine leg. It's no wicket for 7. Hazlewood, 6 wickets in the first innings. What can he bring to the table against an England batting lineup that's been out in the field for just an incredible amount of time? Oh, is that out? Didn't look it. No, batsman got home. Good to see the Aussies staying alert in the field though. And Burns at least is looking to go for it. You have to admire that in the young man, even if he's not that good. So England 10 without loss after 2 overs. Stark to Burns. Well kept out. Roy can't get that away. He'll be nervous about being dropped, you'd have to imagine. Jason Roy hasn't had a series to remember so far, making his test debut in the first test of the series. And he hasn't made an impression since. It's no wicket for 11. Risky single. He get through alright. And Roy tucks that away through the square leg region for a single. Australia's bowlers hopefully will bowl themselves into some form here in this little passage of play. Pretty shocking performances from Stark and Cummins in the first innings. James Pattinson, maybe a Pete Siddle banging on the door saying, "Selectors, pick me." Stark does seem more comfortable going around the wicket to the right-handers, although Roy is able to get a hold of that one. Man out there prevents the boundary though. As Hazlewood continues to Roy, tries to attack that one, doesn't get very far. And I mean, it's good aggressive running, I suppose, from the English, even though there's not a lot for them to play for. A little too straight there from Hazlewood. Burns is able to flick that off the hip. And Roy leaves that one alone. 20 without loss. Stark to Burns. Yeah, so any fears I had of England playing for the win certainly haven't come to fruition. It looks like they're happy to head into the third test with the scoreline still at 0-all as well, which they'll have to be disappointed in given where they were even this time yesterday, but especially the morning of day 4. 3 early wickets, lead of 100, and now they're going to have to settle for a draw. We've got about an hour to play. And Australia's new ball bowlers have failed to make any inroads into the lineup so far. 22 without loss, as Pat Cummins will go around the wicket to Burns, who keeps that one out. Cummins, the worst of Australia's bowlers really throughout this series, unfortunately, but especially in the first innings. Oh, and he's clean bowled Jason Roy. Gee, that's good for his confidence. Picks up the wicket. Roy, 7. His series. Yep, that's not good. That is not good. So Joey Denley will probably get a look in. Here's Bairstow at the crease. The double centurion in the first innings. Will he add to his man of the match case? Well, he will if he plays like that. 4 runs. Oh, and he goes again. This time it probably won't reach the boundary. It will come back for 2. So Bairstow picking up right where he left off in the first innings. And with that, we're going to see a change in the bowling. And Nathan Lyon into the attack. 5 men around the bat. You're not going to get anything, Rory Burns, in terms of the ball flying off the edge. You will be caught. But Bairstow probably won't mind this actually. He'll just think about going over the top. Oh no, bit of patience there. Lyon did look like the only bowler who was going to challenge Bairstow in the first innings. And a dot ball finishes that over. So a decent start from Lyon. It's 131 for 1. As Cummins continues. Oh, and he beats the bat of Bairstow. And a dot ball to finish. So a maiden from Cummins, well bowled. Hats off to the guy. And it'll be Nathan Lyon to continue. Gee, imagine if Australia could take 9 wickets in 40 minutes. I might just hand them the Quarantine Cricket Championship trophy right then and there. I don't think you could have a more impressive performance. But unfortunately, that's wishful thinking. Not enough time left in the match. And, you know, at the start of the day, I was playing for the draw. I am happy that, given the way England batted, they haven't absolutely steamrolled us. But obviously, there's still some disappointment about batting first in 2 Ashes tests in a row and only emerging with draws. It's really down to the Australian bowlers in the remainder of the series to lift their game. Hasn't been an issue with our batsmen. Everyone except Labuschagne has contributed. So Cummins, pick of the bowlers so far, even without the wicket, he's bowled the most consistently. 37 for 1. 168 needed by England, with probably about 7 or 8 overs left, you'd say. Nathan Lyon, day 5 pitch. He'll be hoping for a wicket or two. But he also needs to raise his game a bit for the remainder of the series. Maiden over. Half an hour left in the second test match between England and Australia. If you've been with me this entire match, thank you. I do appreciate it. I would strongly bet against every match in the Quarantine Cricket Championship ending in a draw. I know it seems like it could be that way now, but this is only the second match of over 100. We've got lots of content coming your way. One from the over. It's 38 for 1. 25 minutes. Selfishly, I'd like to see Bairstow and Root and Burns be dismissed tonight. Actually, I'd like to see every England player except Moeen get out. I'll settle for one of these two though. Bairstow because he took the match away from us on day 3, and Burns because I hate him and he's not a good player. Good running. Credit where credit's due. Bairstow can't beat the man. It looks like a deep mid off there. So 21 minutes left. Cummins will have another. Well defended and well bowled. Good cricket all round. Even at this late stage of the test match, both teams probably extremely fatigued. 5 long days. 46 for 1. Lyon may as well continue. Bairstow gets that through the fielders in close at least. Just a single though. Interesting to see a lot of fans still here. You'd think that, day 5 match is pretty much dead. A lot of blokes would have gone home, but no. Fairly well attended as England passed 50 in their second innings. And that's where they remain after another Nathan Lyon over. So, I mean, Hazlewood may as well go for his 10th. He'll need 4 wickets in a couple of overs to do so. Probably asking just a bit too much of him, but, you know, anything can happen in the Quarantine Cricket Championship. Seemingly accept a result. Come on, bowlers. Hazlewood keeping things tight. And I suppose it would be fitting to end the match with Bairstow at the crease after the way he's played. Changing the bowling, it is Steve Smith. Yeah, alright, that's fair enough. Bit of a long hop there from Smitty. Smudge. Checkers. The reason for Smith coming on is because when he's involved in the game, things tend to happen. And if he takes a couple late wickets, maybe he gets the Man of the Match award. Just maybe. Probably not, though. Oh, and Bairstow attacks. Goes bang. 4 runs. Need a good recovery here, Smudge. Fair enough. 61 for 1. 2 overs left in the test match, so 9 of the next 12 deliveries need to be wickets, and that's not one of them. Now it's 9 out of 10. Every ball from now needs to be a wicket. No, match is drawn. Match is drawn. It's what we expected. It sort of looked that way for most of the match. Bowlers just unable to make an impact for either side. So it'll be Smith to Bairstow, perhaps fittingly, to close out this second Ashes test between England and Australia. The series will remain tied at 0-0. Both teams will receive 8 points in the Quarantine Cricket Championship, just like last match, so they'll be tied at 16 apiece. That will mean more when, obviously, more teams have played. So 2 deliveries to come. Smith and Bairstow, 2 giants of the game. Blocks that one out, runs a single. So it'll be Smith to Burns, 1 giant to 1 flog. Last ball of the second test. Wicket ball? Sadly not. England finished at 64 for 1. They batted well in this final innings. But in the end, the match was always going to be a draw once. England batted a long time. Australia then batted a long time. Just a batsman's game. Man of the match is Bairstow. Look, I won't complain, but Joe Burns made an excellent ton. Steve Smith, Matty Wade. 5 centurions in this test match. Pretty unbelievable. So that is it for this episode of the Quarantine Cricket Championship. 0-0 after 2 tests. So until the third match, I'm Brian Jackson, and I'll see you again for more of the Quarantine Cricket Championship.